Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Hank Philippi Ryan. It is Thursday at 11:30 a.m. and I'm now seeing, and I think I am, look at that, live on Facebook and live here on Instagram and here on Facebook. This is the time every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. where Hannah Mary McKinnon and I see what suspenseful delights Instagram and Facebook have in store for us about how they are going to allow us or not to provide first chapter fun for you, where every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11:30 a.m. and moving to 12:30 in a couple of weeks, you need to know that, we will read you out loud the first chapter of a fantastic new book. I see Jen and Az Elgert and Glennie. Hi, Glennie. Hi, Ellie. This morning we are reading from Elly Griffiths' fantastic, unbelievably good, superly good standalone novel, The Stranger Diaries. And I highly recommend this. It is completely fantastic. I see Carla on Facebook. Hello, sweetheart. Nice to see you this morning. Hi, Glennie on Facebook. So I see us all gathering. That is wonderful. We have an absolutely terrific book this morning. How are you? How are you? This is the time where I just sort of wait for everyone to gather to get your coffee or your tea and organize your morning a little bit and cuddle down and cuddle in for hearing our first chapter that we have for you this morning. I see Elly Griffiths on Instagram. She is so incredible. And as I said, we will be reading from her marvelous Edgar-winning novel, The Stranger Diaries, this morning. If you have not read this, go right out and buy this book or get it. Not right now. No, not right now. I don't mean right now, after you hear the first chapter, because you will be hooked. Truly one of my favorite novels of the year. Hey, Daisy. Hi, Beth. Hi, Glennie again. Nice to see you. Some of you are so adept. You are watching here on Instagram and here on Facebook. And that is quite the juggle, because you can only have one audio stream, right? They're not in sync, so you can only have the sound up on one. Hi, Deborah. Uh, Ellie is saying, look at all your awards in awe. Thank you. And you have on your shelf the Edgar for Best Novel, which is pretty amazing, and a lot of other things, which we'll talk about in a minute. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Chapter Fun. It's so nice to see all of you here this morning. I love when the numbers start going up and it shows me that you're all gathering and you're all here, and it's lovely. You know, this community of readers and writers is so incredibly special to Hannah Mary McKinnon and to me. This is episode 87 this morning, episode 87, which is really quite astonishing when you think of it, how many weeks we've been together through this whole ridiculous time of our lives. So scary. And we hope, as we say every week, every day, we hope you're well and we hope you're doing fine. And we love that you're here. Hey, Elizabeth. She's saying it'll be triple digits in San Diego this weekend. I know. I went out this morning. I opened the door to our house to go walk down the driveway to get the 3 newspapers that we always get. And this blast of humidity just hit me. It was completely overwhelming, and the windows are sort of fogging up because it's so humid outside. So I hope you're all staying cool and dry or cozy or whatever it is that you need this morning. I see Carla and I see Elizabeth and I see Susan, and Ellie is, everybody's saying hi to Ellie because she is such a rock star. Hi, Janelle. Nice to see you all this morning. I see lots of people on Instagram, lots of people on Facebook. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Bring a friend next time. We are trying to lure you in because, as you know, at 11:30 a.m., starting at 12:30 a.m. in a couple of weeks, we'll be reading you the first chapter of a wonderful new book. And today, The Stranger Diaries by Elly Griffiths. And Ellie has graciously and fabulously and generously offered to give one lucky commenter a copy of The Stranger Diaries. So that's marvelous. We'll leave this contest open until midnight EST tonight, 11:59 tonight, in case people are watching on video, to make it fair, right? And that lets you know that all of our first chapters are on video too. on IGTV here on Instagram and on Facebook in our video library. So, and they'll also be on our Facebook page, First Chapter Fun. So come look at this, and you can ask Elly questions. Where did she get that ghost story? Where did she first hear about that ghost story? How did she put together the particular structure of this book, which is so special? Did she know the end when she was writing the beginning? All those kinds of questions. Ask her in the comments, not while we're reading, so we can all focus on the book, but come and ask her, leave a question, and Elly will answer them all afterward. That would be so great. So, you know the deal. If we're booted from Facebook, if we're booted from Instagram, it's just one of the many joys of social media. And it just seems like, did you get new Facebook now? Do you have new Facebook? What was wrong with old Facebook? But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that another time. So without further ado, I know you're like, stop the ado, Hank. We are all here. We are all ready. I see so many of you here this morning. Let me tell you. So you know about the giveaway. So just leave a comment in the comments. Where else would you leave a comment? For Elly, and one lucky commenter will win a copy of our book this morning, The Stranger Diaries. Let me tell you a little bit about Elly and a little bit about her book. Elly Griffiths is the best-selling author of the Dr. Ruth Galloway mysteries and the Magic Men books. I'm reading Lantern Men right now, which is exceptional. Her books have been shortlisted for the Theakston Crime Novel of the Year 3 times, and in 2016, Elly won the CWA Dagger in the Library, awarded for a body of work, not just one book, but for a body of work. The Stranger Diaries is Elly's first standalone novel and was the Times Crime Novel of the Year in 2018 and won the coveted Edgar Award for Best Novel. That is a slam dunk home run, to mix sports metaphors, but that is every author's dream, is to win the Edgar Award, every crime fiction author's dream, to win the Edgar Award for Best Novel. So, a little bit about The Stranger Diaries, which we are reading this morning with the kind permission of Elly, the author, and also Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, HMH, her wonderful publisher. Hi, Sharon Doring. We're going to read from your book, She Lies Close, any day now, which is such a good book. I just finished it, and whoa. Anyway, The Stranger Diaries. Let me tell you a little bit about this. The Stranger Diaries, here's what it says on the back cover by Elly Griffiths. This is what the police know. English teacher Clare Cassidy's friend Ella has just been murdered. Clare and Ella had recently fallen out. Found beside the body was a line from The Stranger, a story by the Gothic writer Clare teaches, and the murder scene is identical to one of the deaths in the story. This is what Clare knows. No one else was aware of her fight with Ella. Few others have even read The Stranger. Someone has wormed their way into her life and work. They know her darkest secrets, and they don't mean well. And this is what the killer knows. Who will be the next to die? Okay, I don't even need to read it to you, right? This is all you need to know. That just sounds so great. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Janelle. Hey, Glennie. Hey, Carrie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you all. So I'll read you chapter 1 now, and you need to know that part of it at the beginning is in italics, and that lets us know, of course, you guys are smart readers, that this is a little bit different, and this is something you need to read with a little bit of knowledge that this isn't actually the book, but not quite a prologue, but not quite, it's sort of an introduction. So I'll just let you figure it out, but it's wonderful. Just sit back, cozy down, and listen to a wonderful story. And remember, it begins with italics, and I'll tell you where that changes. Chapter 1 of The Stranger Diaries. If you'll permit me, said the stranger, I'd like to tell you a story. After all, it's a long journey, and by the look of those skies, we're not going to be leaving this carriage for some time. So why not pass the hours with some storytelling? The perfect thing for a late October evening. Are you quite comfortable there? Don't worry about Herbert. He won't hurt you. It's just this weather that makes him nervous. Now, where was I? What about some brandy to keep the chill out? You don't mind a hip flask, do you? Well, this is a story that actually happened. Those are the best kind, don't you think? Better still, it happened to me when I was a young man, about your age. I was a student at Cambridge, studying divinity, of course. There's no other subject, in my opinion, except possibly English literature. We are such stuff as dreams are made on. I'd been there for almost a term. I was a shy boy from the country, and I suppose I was lonely. I wasn't one of those swells, those young men in white bow ties who sauntered across the court as if they had letters patent from God. I kept to myself, went to lectures, wrote my essays, and started up a friendship with another scholarship boy in my year, a timid soul called Gudgeon, of all things. I wrote home to my mother every week. I went to chapel. Yes, I believed in those days. I was even rather pious, pie, we used to say. That was why I was surprised when I was asked to join the Hell Club. Surprised and pleased. I'd heard about it, of course, stories of midnight orgies, of betters coming into clean rooms and fainting dead away at what they discovered there, of arcane chants from the Book of the Dead, of buried bones and gaping graves. But there were other stories, too. Many successful men had their start at the Hill Club. Politicians, even a cabinet member or two. Writers, lawyers, scientists, business tycoons. You always knew them because of the badge, a discreet skull worn on the left lapel. Yes, like this one here. So I was happy to be invited to the initiation ceremony. It was held on October 31st, Halloween, of course, All Hallows Eve. Yes, of course, it's Halloween today. If one believed in coincidence, one might think that was slightly sinister. To return to my story, the ceremony was simple and took place at midnight, naturally. The 3 initiates were required to go to a ruined house just outside the college grounds. In turn, we would be blindfolded and given a candle. We had to walk to the house, climb the stairs, and light our candle in the window on the first floor landing. Then we had to shout as loudly as we could, "Hell is empty." After all 3 had completed the task, we could take off our blindfolds and rejoin our fellows. Feasting and revelry would follow. Gudgeon, did I tell you poor Gudgeon was one of the 3? Gudgeon was worried because without his glasses he was almost blind. But as I told him, we were all blindfolded anyway, and a man may see how the world goes with no eyes. So, I say, what's happening here? Something bad, says Peter. You are quite right, I say, counting to 10 silently. What makes you think that? Well, says Una, the setting for one thing, midnight on Halloween. That's a bit of a cliche, says Ted. It's a cliche because it works, says Una. It's really spooky with the weather and everything. What's the betting they get snowed in on the train? That's a ripoff of Murder on the Orient Express, says Peter. The Stranger predates Agatha Christie, I say. What else tells you what sort of story this is? The narrator is so creepy, says Sharon. All that, have a drink from my hip flask and don't mind Herbert. Who's Herbert, anyway? A good question, I say. What does everyone think? A deaf-mute, his servant. His son has to be restrained because he's a dangerous lunatic. His dog, laughter. Actually, I say, Ted is right. Herbert is a dog. The companion animal is an important trope in the ghost story genre because an animal can sense things that are beyond human comprehension. What can be scarier than a dog staring at something that isn't there? Cats are famously spooky, of course. Think of Edgar Allan Poe. And animals were often thought to be witches' familiars, helping them perform black magic. But animal characters can be useful for another reason. Can anyone guess what it is? No one can. It's mid-afternoon, nearly break time, and they are thinking of coffee and biscuits rather than fictional archetypes. I look out the window. The trees by the graveyard are dark, even though it's only 4 o'clock. I should have saved the short story for the twilight session, really, but it's so difficult to cover everything on short course. Time to wrap things up. Animals are expendable, I say. Authors often kill them to create tension. It's not as significant as killing a human, but it can be surprisingly upsetting. The members of the creative writing group go clattering down the stairs in search of caffeine, but I stay in the classroom for a bit. It's very strange being in this part of the school. Only adult education classes get taught here. The rooms are too small and too odd for lessons. This one has a fireplace and a rather disturbing oil painting of a child holding up what looks like a dead ferret. I can just imagine the year sevens trying to disappear up the fireplace like 21st century chimney sweeps. Most school life here at Talgarth High happens in the new building, a 1970s monstrosity of plate glass and colored bricks. This building, the old building, which was once called Holland House, is really just an annex. It has the dining hall, the kitchens, and the chapel, as well as the head teacher's office. The first floor has rooms which are sometimes used for music practice or drama. The old library is there too, now only frequented by teachers because students have a modern version in the new building with computers and armchairs and paperbacks and carousels. The top floor, which is out of bounds to students, is where R.M. Holland's study is, preserved just as he left it. The creative writing students are always excited to learn that the author of The Stranger actually lived in this house. In fact, he hardly ever left it. He was a recluse, the old-fashioned sort with a housekeeper and full staff. I'm not sure I would leave the house myself if I had someone to cook and clean for me, to iron the Times and place it on a tray with my morning infusion. But I have a daughter, so I would have to rouse myself eventually. Georgie would probably never get out of bed without me to shout the time up the stairs. A problem R.M. Holland certainly never had, although he may, in fact, have had a daughter. Opinion is divided on this point. It's October half-term, and with no pupils around and spending all my time in the old building, it's easy to imagine that I'm teaching at a university somewhere ancient and hallowed. There are parts of Holland House that look almost like an Oxford college if you ignore the new building and the smell of the gymnasium. I like having this time to myself. Georgie is with Simon and Herbert is in kennels. There's nothing for me to worry about, and when I get home, there's nothing to stop me from writing all night. I'm working on a biography of R.M. Holland. He's always interested me ever since I read The Stranger in a ghost story anthology as a teenager. I didn't know about his connection to the school when I first applied here. It wasn't mentioned in the ad, and the interview was in the new building. When I found out, it seemed like a sign. I would teach English by day, and in the evening, inspired by my surroundings, I would write about Holland, about his strange reclusive life, the mysterious death of his wife, his missing daughter. I made a good start. I was even interviewed for a news item on a local TV, walking awkwardly through the old building and talking about its previous occupant. But recently, I don't know why, the words have dried up. Write every day, that's what I tell my students. Don't wait for inspiration, that might not come until the end. The muse always finds you working. Look into your heart and write. But, like most teachers, I'm not brilliant at taking my own advice. I write in my diary every day, but that doesn't count because no one else is ever going to read it. I suppose I should go downstairs and get a coffee while I still can. As I get up, I look out of the window. It's getting dark, and the trees are blowing in a sudden squall of wind. Leaves gust across the car park, and following their progress, I see what I should have noticed earlier, a strange car with two people sitting inside it. There's nothing particularly odd about this. This is a school, after all, despite it being half-term. Visitors are not entirely unexpected. They could even be staff members coming in to prepare their classrooms and complete their planning for next week. But there's something about the car and the people inside it that make me feel uneasy. It's an unremarkable gray vehicle. I'm useless at cars, but Simon would know the make. Something solid and workmanlike, the kind of thing a minicab driver would use. But why are its occupants just sitting there? I can't see their faces, but they're both dressed in dark clothes and look like the car itself, somehow both prosaic and menacing. It's almost as if I'm expecting a summons of some kind, so I'm not really surprised when my phone buzzes. I see it's Rick Lewis, my head of department. Claire, he says, I've got some terrible news. And that is the end of chapter 1. And come on, did I tell you? Is that not great? That is so perfect in every way. Structurally, literally, if that's such a word, mysteriously, atmospherically, introduction of character and setting and tone and voice and poetry and knowledge and literature and foreshadowing like crazy. I mean, this is a masterclass. This is a masterclass in writing in every way. And I have to tell you, I know, Tracy, I can't stop there. Pugs and pages. Jen Jumba says, don't stop. Patricia Stands is clapping. Carla says, wow. Susan is saying, Hank, don't stop. Ali is saying, that's fantastic. Glennie is saying, that's all. No, that is not all. This is The Stranger Diaries by Elly Griffiths. Truly one of my favorite books of the year. And it's interesting because going back and reading the first chapter again after having read the whole book and knowing what Elly is doing in this book now is really instructive. It's really wonderful writing research. There's so much going on here. And sometimes when you read a book a second time, you really understand how talented and how skilled the author is in what she's doing and what she's setting up for us and how everything is fair. I know I'm gushing about this book. It deserves gushing. The Stranger Diaries by Elly Griffiths, which is great. That's all I can tell you. It's great. Highly, superly, highly recommended. Again, Elly, the generous, gorgeous Elly, is giving away a copy of this book for one of the commenters on Facebook and on Instagram. Well, now that's a situation. Let me tell you this. The comments on Instagram, right here on Instagram, the comments go away the moment the video is posted on IGTV. This is just a quirk of Instagram. And no matter how often Hannah Mary McKinnon and I complain about it, Instagram just doesn't change it. I don't know why that happens. So come to Facebook and leave a comment because we will not be able to, Elly will not be able to pick a winner on Instagram. So come to Facebook, First Chapter Fun, join the group if you haven't joined. You have joined. All of you have, of course, or you wouldn't be here. But on Instagram, come join on Facebook just so you can get in on this giveaway. So leave a what do you call those things? A comment by 11:59 EST today on Thursday, and Elly will pick a winner to get a copy of The Stranger Diary, and she will also be answering your question. So thank you so much for being here today, all of you, so many of you, yikes, to listen to this wonderful book. And again, that's episode 87 of First Chapter Fun. If you missed the reading, if you came in late, I know we all have crazy schedules. If you came in late, you know to go to IGTV here on Instagram and to our videos on Facebook, and all the first chapters are all still there. So Joanne is saying, looking forward to reading the book soon. Yay. Carol is saying, hi, late from La Mirada, California. And that is why we put everything on video. Domenica De Rosa is Elly's alter ego, and she is now watching on Facebook too. So lovely to see you all here. And isn't that a great chapter? And you will love the whole book. Speaking of loving the whole book, book number 88. Are we bringing you the fabulous books or not? Book number 88, which will be read on Tuesday, is Wendy Walker's brand new Don't Look for Me. And don't tell me anything because I'm reading this over the weekend. But this just got named by Newsweek as something like the best crime fiction that ever was written, one of the best 25 crime fiction authors in the universe, or some accolade like that. But the reviews of this have been spectacular, and Wendy Walker is one of the queens of domestic suspense. So I know you will love hearing the first chapter of this book on Tuesday. We are still at 11:30 a.m. here on Facebook and here on Instagram on Tuesday. So again, today you heard, I'm going to put this right side up, the Stranger Diaries. Leave a comment on Facebook, and we will draw for a winner of a copy of the Stranger Diaries. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Carla. I am going to sign off so you can go read and have your day. And yes, somebody is saying, Tracy's saying, nice cover. Yes, look, it's shiny. It's rain, and it is metallic. The advanced reader copy is metallic. That's a big deal, right? So we love that. Don't Look for Me. Hannah says, I love Don't Look for Me. She's ahead of me in reading it. Don't tell me what happens, Hannah, because I'm reading it this weekend. All right, you all. Thank you. Agnes is saying, thanks for introducing me to a new author. Agnes, thank you. And thank you all so much for coming today. We will see you on Tuesday, of course. And until then, stay safe, stay kind, and keep reading. Love you so much.